Hey y'all. So I'm going to talk about the 26 movies that I watched in December. And a good chunk of these movies that I watched are not normally, I wouldn't normally click on these movies. Different genres, different eras, different tones. Movies that made me uncomfortable, confused, emotional, and sometimes completely disconnected. Horror will always be my comfort genre. That would never change. But my goal that I'm setting for myself, but I set it at the end of 2025, and I'm definitely going to carry that on to 2026, is letting myself explore beyond that and really figure out why certain movies work for me and why others don't. And that's what December became, a bit of a personal movie experiment for me. If you're new here, hi, I'm Tashina. I watch a lot of movies and a lot of TV shows, and I love to talk about what works and why it doesn't work, and then how it makes me feel. Not just the movie was good or bad, about how it made me feel. All right, starting with Secrets and Lies. Now, I appreciate this performance. I appreciate the craft behind this one, but it just like for what the movie was about and the premises of the movie, you would think that this would hit me so hard emotionally, like it would pull on my heartstrings. But no, it didn't. It just didn't land for me, and this movie was way too long. It just started stretching itself out thin. That's why I gave it a 2 out of 5. Now, oh, what fun! This movie was light, it was harmless, and it was very aware of what it was. It didn't try to get too deep or too complicated, and honestly, it worked in its favor. I gave this movie 3 stars. Martyrs. This movie took me a while to watch. Now, this movie was extremely brutal, and it was hard to watch. Don't get me wrong, I love brutal movies. I love violent movies, but it has to be something that supports it of why it's being violent. It can't just be violent for being violent. It can't just be brutal for being brutal. There has to be a story, emotional payoff for me. And this one just did not have it. That's why I gave it a 2.5 stars. Like It Hot. Now, this is a movie that I probably would have never watched. Even though I used to watch older movies like this with my dad, this is something that I wouldn't have watched right now, my age, in this time. But this movie was classic, and it genuinely surprised me. It was funny, it was charming, and it holds up far better than I expected it to. I gave it 3.5 stars. Hollywood Shuffle. You would think that I would seen this movie before, but I've never seen it, nor have I heard it. This movie was sharp, it was funny, and socially aware, with commentary that somehow still feels painfully relevant decades later. I gave this movie 3.5 stars. My Secret Santa. It's a cute little Christmas movie. It was cozy holiday watch. It was enjoyable while I was watching it. But it just didn't leave a lasting impression. This is not one of those movies out when Christmas comes around again. I'm going to be like, oh, let's put this one on. I probably would forget about it. But I still gave it 3 stars because it was good while I watched it. It just, something about it just didn't keep my attention. Another one, older 1954, I think, movie that I would never have watched. But this one was beautifully performed, emotionally grounded, and still resonated in ways that really surprised me. I gave this one 3.5 stars. Dogtooth. This movie was very intentional, and it was well made. Like the camera shots, it was very visually pleasing to the eyes. But personally, this movie was just not for me. I did not connect with it at all. It was just wanted to be controversial to be controversial. It wanted to push boundaries just to push boundaries. There was no reason for what they were doing in this movie. It was just weird. I give it 1 star. Next is Wake Up Dead Man. This was a slow, it was moody with the interesting atmosphere, but it never fully came together in a way that satisfied me. I gave it 2.5 stars. Influencers. Now, Influencers, I have watched Influencers a couple years back, but I rewatched it in the month of December because the sequel to it was coming out. This movie was solid and delivered on its premise, and it kept me entertained throughout the whole movie. Now, there was things missing. There was things that I wish they would have showed me, our storylines they would have got a little more in depth into, but I still gave it 3 stars. Influencers. This is the sequel. This one was disappointing because I was so excited when I seen they were coming out with a sequel because I thought it was going to expand on the answers and the questions that it was going to span on our answer, the questions that I wanted in the first film, and it didn't at all. It didn't show me nothing. So I was like so disappointed. So I gave it 2.5 stars. A Little Disaster is the only TV show that I watched in the month of December, which is surprising because usually I can fit in binge a couple of TV shows in 1 month. But this is the only one I watched. And this one stood out for me, especially how it handled like postpartum themes. And it was very eye-opening to see it through the eyes of somebody that's dealing with postpartum. It was full of tension. It kept my attention the whole time. It was very good. I gave it 3 stars. Mannequin is a little horror movie I found on Tubi. The atmosphere, the concept carried this one. Even though it definitely had flaws, it was entertaining and it was a fun watch. I gave it 3 stars. Now, Brute. This is a horror movie that I found on Tubi as well. This movie was gritty. It was rough. And it was just very much the product of its time. Like, it just didn't do nothing for me. I could see where it was trying to go. I can see what it was trying to do. It was more like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets Hills Have Eyes kind of thing, and it just didn't work. So I gave it 2 stars. Now, Christine. This one is going to get a video of its own because I have things to say about this movie. This movie was easily one of the strongest watches that I watched this month. It was heartbreaking. It was intimate and anchored by an incredible performance. This one got 4 stars. American Sweatshop. It was a strong concept, but it just never quite digs deep enough for it to fully land for me. So I gave it 2.5 stars. Working Girls. This was a type of movie that you felt like you was observing. It felt really realistic. But for some reason, it just didn't feel personal, though. Like, I didn't connect. I didn't connect with any of the characters. It just didn't hit the way that I thought it was going to hit. So I gave it 2.5 stars. Now, We're All Strangers, which I want to say is one of the most disappointing films that I watched this month because of the actress, the main character in it. I like her in a lot of films and movies she do. So I was like, oh, I'm so excited this is going to be good. But I just struggled to understand what this film wanted to say. Like, I never connected with the main character. I never connected with the story. Nothing made sense. So I gave him 1.5 stars. Now, Sunchoke. This movie was uncomfortable and unsettling in a way that mostly worked for me. Now, there was some flaws. So it worked somewhat. But I wouldn't say it hit the mark 100%. But I still gave it 3 stars. Pleasure. This movie was raw and it was unflinching watch. It was difficult to watch. It was talking about the porn industry, but it was very effective. This movie made me feel dirty. It made me feel, but it was really good. It gave me 3 stars. Gave me 3 stars. I gave it 3 stars. What We Hide. This movie was a restrained thriller that kept me engaged, even though the ending wasn't as big as I expected. The ending was still good. I don't know what I thought or what I wanted from it, but it just didn't give it to me. It was still good. But the ending just didn't give what I wanted it to give. But I gave it 3 stars. Hoard. This movie was messy. It was emotional. It was uncomfortable. But it was like an honest portray of grief. And it worked. It really worked. But this movie did get uncomfortable and weird. You're just like, what the fuck is happening? But you got why it was being weird. Like, I don't mind weird or uncomfortable if there's a reason behind it being weird and uncomfortable. You know what I mean? You can't just be weird and uncomfortable for no reason. That just don't work for me. But I gave this 3 stars. 1985. I want to say this might be one of the saddest ones that I watched this month. It was quiet and it was like deeply heartbreaking. And this one really stayed with me. It really did. I gave it 3 stars. Only once. Now this one, so I was expecting this regular old slasher movie, but this one genuinely surprised me, like completely surprised me. But the acting wasn't even, the wardrobe. There was one lady that just had this bad wig on. I'm like, why? I think this movie was made in 2024. You could have got a better wig on this girl. And it distracted me the whole time. The acting distracted me. Like, it was just not good. But the surprise was like, okay, I didn't expect that from you guys. Like, I didn't expect that from this movie. You guys tried something new, and I respect that. I gave it 2 stars. The Ruse. This movie was watchable, but it's very predictable. Like, I figured out what was going on in the beginning. Like, I want to say, not quite the first act, but right in the beginning of the movie, I was like, oh, this is what's happening. So I gave it 2 stars. I Lied. This is the most disappointing movie I watched this month. One battle after another. I expect this the movie to be so good, so great with the cast they had, but no, it wasn't marketed the way. Like when I watched it, it was nothing what I thought it was gonna be. The storyline was nothing what I thought it was gonna be, and that alone just disappointed me. It was just terrible. I didn't like it. 2 stars. So looking back, December wasn't about finding a bunch of my new favorites or anything like that. It was about me learning my taste, figuring out what resonates with me emotionally and what doesn't. And I'm willing to challenge myself with not everything works. It's not. Everything doesn't work. Like most of these movies I watched, this wasn't it. And I probably will never watch them again. But I'm being able to be comfortable and get out of my comfort zone watching things that I normally wouldn't watch. And I'm proud of myself for that, you know? Now, if you have seen any of these movies, jump in the comments and let me know what you thought about these movies. If you're going to watch any movie out of these movies, I would say watch Christine. I think that was one of the best ones that I feel like everybody should watch, because I think you would get, it was so beautifully performed. It was so devastating, but it was such a good movie. So I would say you should watch Christina if you haven't watched anything else. But if you guys love talking about movies, love listening to people talk about movies and TV shows, hit that little follow button and you will not be disappointed. And until next time, you guys stay spooky.